Yeah, what you're hearing there are tsunami sirens going off in Hawaii. There are a lot of people trying to get to higher ground. We had a huge earthquake that has produced a tsunami in the West Pacific. It was just off the east coast of Russia, not far from the Aleutian Islands. Now, I want to get this out of the way. If you live in Hawaii, you've still got time. I mean, there's about 3 hours before this wave is going to arrive. The problem with this earthquake is that it was an 8.8. That's a tremendously massive earthquake. That's one of the top 10 strongest earthquakes in history. So just the magnitude itself. There was another big one, I think it was a 9.0 back in 1952. It was the early 50s that also created a tsunami, and it was a significant Pacific-wide tsunami that had some pretty wide reaching impacts. I'm starting to see some video coming in here, and again, we're still trying to clear some of this video. It's very hard nowadays when you don't know what's real and what's fake. But I'm seeing some pretty disturbing video coming in from Japan. The waves have begun to arrive, and it appears that it's a pretty, significant impact situation. Also seen some video from eastern Russia, as you might imagine, with that earthquake happening just off the coast, 8.8. It was only 8 miles off the coast, by the way. So I'm sure they probably had some earthquake damage there too. But we're very focused in here on this tsunami. Hawaii, the entire state of Hawaii is under a tsunami warning. The potential wave arrival, or the likely wave arrival, we're going to have some kind of wave. I mean, that's a given. The science isn't perfect with this. You hope it's not as bad as it could be, but I think this has the potential to be pretty bad. I'm not trying to scare people here. I don't want people to panic, but this is the situation right now with Hawaii. We've got a tsunami warning, and it looks like people are taking it seriously. So this is good. And just keep in mind, we have time, okay? We're going to be with you here. It's going to be okay. All right, let's talk. Actually, I want to go show you the West Coast here now, too. That wave is moving through the Aleutian Islands in Alaska right now, by the way. That's probably the area of #1 concern. So let me go back there. And again, I'm not really sure the population out here. I think it's fairly sparsely populated, but obviously there are people that live here. And this is a big deal. This earthquake happened right about there or so. Left side of your screen, somewhere out here, just off the east coast of the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. And once the earthquake happened, obviously, the waves shoot out in all direction, and we've got a lot of modeling that can do a pretty good job of, predicting where the waves are going to go. Now, is it perfect, especially as you get farther away from the epicenter of the earthquake? No, but I think it does a pretty good job. The west coast of the U.S. is under a tsunami advisory right now. So you have different levels to this, right? You've got the tsunami warning, which the western Aleutian Islands are under right now. And this wave, I mean, I would imagine at this point is probably almost getting through there. You've got a tsunami advisory for the central Aleutian Islands. And there was a tsunami watch that was out earlier for this area farther up toward the northeast, closer to mainland Alaska. But that one's actually been dropped because of the direction. Yes.
I do want to bring in, we have someone who is actively evacuating in Hawaii and Maui. This is Jenny Welch.
Hey, Jenny, how are you doing? Thanks for hanging out with us here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so how many of these have you guys gone through? Have you ever felt this level of sense of urgency?
No, we're just here on vacation, so this was pretty unexpected. Yeah, we've got the whole family in the car, and we're just trying to get to higher ground.
Nice. It looks like everybody's in good spirits. You love to see that. You guys are making a little trip out of it, getting to some higher ground there. How are the roads? I mean, is there like a lot of hysteria there, or are people just starting to find out about it?
The roads are really crowded. We were staying in an area called Wailea, and there's one road out of that area, and so we were headed back to our hotel and actually decided to turn around and head back out of the area. And yeah, traffic's really bad. I would say it's pretty calm. There were some what looked to be maybe locals kind of zipping up bike paths, and so it's a little crazy, but we're good.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm looking at Wailea. It's in the western part of Maui, and I mean, that looks to be a spot to me. And again, like, I'm not a total expert here with how the coastline affects how bad the tsunami is, but that certainly looks like kind of a low-lying spot that's directly facing west, and that wave's going to be coming in from the west. So what's your plan here? Where are you guys going? Are you just going to higher ground? Do you have a certain spot that you're going to head to? And shack up?
Yeah, where are we headed?
So we're headed to Kula.
We are headed to Kula.
Up Haleakala, the mountain volcano.
Which is up the volcano Haleakala.
Oh, yeah.
We actually were not at our hotel. We'd been hiking all day. And so we were already in the car and had thought about going back to the hotel to get maybe some fresh clothes and food and stuff. But we just decided the roads were already looking crazy. So we just turned around and we're headed up to higher ground with just
what we have.
The people in our car.
Yeah, that's it. I think you guys are going to be fine. I'm glad you're taking action there. How'd you guys find out about this? Was it the sirens or?
Actually, a friend, we're from California, and a friend from California texted me and asked if we were okay. And at that point, we had not heard anything about it. And then about 5 minutes after that, the phone alarm started going off. And then the sirens started going off once we were in closer to Wailea. So yeah, it was a surprise for sure.
Wow, look at this. I mean, it's kind of interesting to just watch people reacting to this. I think it's really nice that you decided to spend some time with us here tonight on your way up the mountain. Again, you know, I've got 3 little kids. I know what it's like. You don't want to scare them and panic them and everything, but you know, it looks like everybody's kind of just making the best out of it, right? You're all hanging out in the car. Life is good.
We sure are. Y'all want to wave and say hi?
Hey, what's up,
Hi.
guys? How's it going?
Good.
Man, well, I hope everything goes well for you guys. I'm sure it will. Maybe a little bit of a change in the plan for sure. That is Jenny Welch and family. Thanks again for popping in tonight. I really appreciate it, guys. Man, can you imagine being in that situation? Look at how good spirits everybody's in there. That's great. That's what I think that's kind of the model for what people should do, right? Just we don't have to panic. Just get in the car. We'll get to higher ground. Again, we have so much lead time here. There's 3 hours, and it's also happening during the day, which is, I think, kind of an underrated thing. It's a very good thing, obviously, as opposed to if this were happening at night. Again, the first wave forecast to come in sometime around 7:10, 7:15, something like that, into these western islands. But again, if you're curious where Jenny and family were, they were on Maui, right here. On the west side of, this is where they were. They were on the west side of the island, and they're driving up to the middle of the island, which in most cases here, obviously with these volcanic islands, is higher ground. So all the best to them. I'm sure they're going to be fine. This is a live breaking situation, guys. We've been following this for the last couple of hours. We're going to be here with you as well. Huge earthquake that happened just off the east coast of Russia. Got a live shot of Hawaii here just so you can see what it looks like along the coast. Keep in mind, you know, we're talking 3 hours or so, maybe a little bit less than 3 hours at this point before the wave gets to Hawaii. And then we got to talk about the west coast of the U.S. This is a spot that could also have some significant impacts. You know, I was rattling through a few of the cities earlier that were a little bit on the concerning side just because of the topography around there. They tend to be kind of a tsunami hazard area. Let me go to this real quick. A couple of spots like, what was the name of this town? Crescent City in California. They're forecasting a 3 to 6 foot wave there. Now, we've got a lot more time, obviously. This wave takes a long time to get across the Pacific. So, you know, it's going to be closer to about 11:30, 11:40 Pacific time up in the Pacific Northwest before this wave arrives. Closer to about, 12:30, 1 o'clock Pacific time before it reaches the Bay Area, and down in Southern California near Los Angeles about 1 o'clock or so in the morning. And again, that is Pacific time. So, that's about 5 to 6 hours from now when the wave arrives. Now, unfortunately, in that situation, it is going to be overnight. So, we're also in a fortunate situation that we can give you this info, at least for most people, before you go to bed, Pacific time here. The wave's got a long way to go here, guys. And just to reiterate, we talked to an expert not long ago that said she thinks this is going to be a pretty big deal. Listen to this.
It's pretty dangerous because tsunami wave height, it's not your regular wave height in a storm surge or like in a wind wave. It's totally different because the tsunami energy is distributed between the surface of the water and the bottom of the water. So basically your 3.5 feet is just the very, very top of that tsunami energy that involves the entire water column. And many harbors in California in 2011, Tahoe tsunami, were destroyed by exactly like 2 to 3 feet waves.
Yeah, she was great. Just an absolute expert in that field and so much useful information. So, you know, the thing that I think we need to get across here is that I know we get a lot of these tsunami watches and tsunami advisories, and maybe, you know, you've gone through several situations where nothing happens. And so you get the warning fatigue. I understand that. We get that with severe weather sometimes in the worst parts of the country for tornadoes. But, you know, with an 8.8 earthquake here, you know, that's what Elena was saying. That was another question that she answered that I had. I said, you know, do you think this is going to be worse than these last couple of situations where it hasn't been that big of a deal? She said, yeah, just the magnitude alone. 8.8 is a massive earthquake, and I think it's going to cause a lot of problems here. And it may cause some problems along the west coast of the lower 48 as well. So what I want you to do, if you live along the west coast of the mainland U.S., California, Oregon, Washington, anywhere close to the coast, just try to look up your tsunami hazard zone. See if you're in a tsunami hazard zone, because it is a little bit like storm surge, where there are certain zones where the wave will have more effects when it comes in, right? The topography really matters a lot when it comes down to it. So, you know, that's a lot of micro scale information that you're going to have to dig into a little bit. Check in with your local National Weather Service office. Stick with us here on Fox Weather. We're working on some more interviews here. We'll be right back after this.